Page 130, Minuet in G major. J.S. Bach. 1 sharp, it's in G major, it says it's in the title. Okay, so much for that. 3/4 time, well, it's a minuet. Again, it's in the title. Minuets are in 3. They're like waltzes, similar, sort of, maybe a little different. They're in 3/4 time. Right hand first. Let's make sure we got the notes and the rhythms. And when I do this sort of thing, I try and play it everything legato if I can. That helps me work out my fingerings, because the fingerings I tend to use, the fingering style I tend to use is one that allows me to play legato if I want to. So here, starting 5th finger, starting here. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. Now just reach up with 3rd finger here. There's other fingers we could use. They sing 3rd. Okay, fine, we'll do 3rd. I mean, you could just as easily do 4th if it's easier for you to reach it. But you want the thumb on the C. The first 8th note here, you need C, a thumb here. And then an octave down. Then come down 4th finger. And then here you got to reach over. Leave the thumb where it is, just for 1 note. I'll come back to that little note in a minute, a little grace note. Then you do that some more. Let's go over to the next page, 131. Here you got to move up, because the last note on 130 is here, and then you got to come all the way up to here. 5th finger, that's all right, just lift up and move. Thumb, reach down. Cross over 3rd finger here. And then here, it's like a scale. Thumb on the D. And then 4th finger here. The idea with 4th finger is it makes it a little easier for you to reach the A. I mean, if you have really big hands and you can reach it from 3rd finger, you can still use 3rd finger. I don't care. The 3rd finger then on the C sharp. 3rd line. Now we're going to cross over the thumb. This happens a lot in piano music, so just deal with it. Next measure. Now they want the thumb on the A, so scrunch up a little bit here. We just changed positions because in the next line we need the D down here. 3rd finger, I prefer 4th finger. 3rd finger will do it, but I prefer 4th, because that way I'm in position for the last chord. Here. See, the fingering they're showing you for the most part encourages this legato fingering thing anyway, so that works out well. Now for the left hand for the most part, keep it down soft. It's here. Try and get all those notes down at once. 2, 3, and again, let's just play this legato for now. And you could, let's go over the 2nd line, last 2 measures here. And reach down, it's an octave. 1, 2. See, we're kind of in this position. And last line there on page 130, 2nd finger on the A. And then thumb, and then cross over. Thumb again. This way we connect all these notes with our fingers. It's all legato. Next page, lift up and come up. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Reach down, it's an octave. And then come over 3rd finger. 4th finger. Now we got 2 voices going. So the bottom voice is the stems going down. The top voice, stems going up. So you got to rest, 2, 3, rest, 2, 3. You put them together. You hold this down as you play. Now you got them. Now you hold the D down as you play the B again, and then here C's by itself. But hold the C down, play the E, and then hold the E down as you play the C again. So they're overlapping. rest, and they send fourth finger. You can use fifth finger if you want because it's an octave. They're taking advantage of the rest, and you can move down. I still like to feel it with my fingers, so I would probably still play that with fifth finger. And the last line here, because then I can scrunch up and use second finger on that F sharp just fine. The idea in the next to the last measure using fourth finger is because all these notes in the last two measures make up a chord, a G chord. That's the fingering for it, fourth finger on the B. So we tend to use that in the music too when we run into it. Because really you're in this position now. Once you hit that fourth finger, you're in this position for the rest of it. Over time, you get accustomed to seeing these chord patterns in music, and you'll finger it as you do the chords. If you've been practicing the arpeggios, you would finger it that way, and that helps you to figure out the fingering for stuff that you're going to play. Now put the hands together carefully. Again, we're still legato. Work it all out so you can play both hands together, and you have hesitations as you're working things out. That's fine, but get rid of the hesitations. Work on that part and practice over and over until all the beat is steady throughout the whole piece. You don't have to go fast, just make the beat steady eventually. Then once we do that, we can do the articulation and the ornaments, whatever. And that is these staccatos. They put in the phrases here, and both hands have phrases and staccatos, so we have to be careful here. So it's, see, I wouldn't play these staccatos short. I wouldn't do short staccatos, I don't think, anywhere in here. They're long staccatos, they're disconnected. And here, both hands lift up between the phrases. In the left hand, they don't give you any slurring or anything. Play it legato. You have slurs and staccatos in both hands, and sometimes you don't have anything marked. So you have to think of this separately. If you need to, learn this articulation one hand at a time to get it, because it won't be the same. At the beginning, it's connected. Then you have these staccatos, and in this piece I would not play short staccatos anywhere, just disconnect the notes. And here, lift up, so it's here. See, both hands are lifting up there. Now here, they don't give you anything in the left hand. Different people will interpret this differently. You could play it all legato in the left hand. Or you could disconnect the notes slightly in the left hand. Or you could disconnect the notes that are more than a second apart. In other words, if the notes are next to each other, connect them. If they're further than that, disconnect them. There's another way of doing it. So it's this way. Connect. Now disconnect. Like so. That's another way of doing it. So it doesn't say anything. It's, the default back in the Baroque period, back in the 1700 before, the way of when there's nothing marked, and most of the time there wasn't, the default was to slightly separate the notes, just a hair. Today, the default is play it legato. If there's nothing marked, play it legato. But it didn't used to be that way. So I can't tell you one way or the other, experiment with it. I would probably separate the chord like that, but I might connect these when they're next to each other. I might, not always. I could disconnect them too, I swear. And then let's go over the next page here. Top part page. Again, you phrasing. And again, I would disconnect this left. If you want to connect it, it's up to you, but this isn't just disconnected, it's shorter than that. Not real short, just shorter than. Now here is legato in both hands here. Except you're lifting up for the right hand. So, look at it on page 131, in the second line, second measure. You see the quarter notes? You're ending a phrase, but it's not marked with a staccato. See, a lot of these others that have staccatos coming, the last note in the phrase is staccato. This is not, so it's here. So don't play go up. Hang on to that first note a little longer. I mean, you still separate it. It's just not real short. Like the next measure, it's a staccato at the end of it, but not in that measure. So be careful on that one. At the end, last measure at the bottom of page 131, you have a dotted half note. You can hold it down for 3 full counts. The left hand's staccatos, and it's done. So at the end, that last beat, the right hand is still down. Because you got to hang on for the full count. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, off. So it stays up, down. Watch that. Don't lift them at the same time. Like that. That's incorrect. It's my opinion of it. Other people would interpret it a little differently, but that's what I would do. Now over on page 130, at the second line, last measure, that little note. I don't know that I agree with the way they've written it, but the idea is I would play that as a regular eighth note on the beat. That's how I recommend you do it. Then we can add the dynamics. Starts out moderately loud at the beginning, and that's the right hand. You crescendo up to loud. Stay loud. Now come back down. And don't come down too soon. You're loud here in the second line, and you can come down to about a moderately soft by the end of the line, but don't get soft too soon. Take your time is what I'm trying to say. Then you're moderately soft at the... This is just a little softer than you were at the beginning. Now crescendo up to about a moderately loud or so. And stay that way until the end of the last line. You come back down to moderately soft. Now at the top of page 131, they're saying soft. That would be the right hand. Left hand. Crescendo up to about a moderately loud or so. Now you're loud. And you're staying loud throughout the rest of it. I can't tell you how loud or soft these are. You're going to have to decide for yourself based on your own judgment. You experiment with it. I would not really, I don't know that in a minuet I would get loud. That's really not what minuets are about. You may want to adjust everything and take it down one notch. So your louds are just sort of loud and everything else is just a little soft. It's a minuet. It's like a high-class waltz type thing. it's allegro moderato for the speed, whatever that is. It's moderately fast or something. I experiment. I'm sure you can find recordings of this of what other people are playing, but that's just their interpretation. That may or may not be the way Bach intended it. I don't know. And you have a repeat sign at there, you'd repeat that page. And then on page 131, it's surrounded by repeat signs, so you'd play that page twice. I'd like to play it with you very slowly to check the notes and the rhythms. Not going to do any dynamics. I'll give us 3 counts. Let's just make sure we have the right notes and rhythms. 1, ready, go, and 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Repeat. Repeat.